Do you remember all the times when...
No, I don't actually. Because my Claude is remembering everything. Well, not everything, but everything I needed to remember for what I need, if that makes sense. By default, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, any of them, don't remember anything. But over time, I figured out a few tricks and tested a lot of things, especially with my Claude. So here's what you need to do to stop repeating yourself and stop telling Claude the same thing
again and again and again.
Yes, I'm talking about those M dashes, the made up facts, the memory bloat, and all those annoying things that AI keeps squeezing into your work. And near the end, I'll show you where Claude actually hides its memories on your machine. Most people never know that folder exists in the first place. This is the Casual Leader Podcast. Let's get started. For this video, I'm focusing on Claude memory, specifically Claude Cowork memory. But the same solution works for any other AI, ChatGPT work included. They all run on more or less the same principles, and they all struggle with the same three things: memory loss, selective or fictitious memory, and memory bloat. I'm kind of calling it the Goldfish Problem.
Hi, I'm Dory.
When you give Claude Cowork a new task, it starts every single session with zero context. But behind the scenes, it does pull a few things together. First is your instructions. And there are two sets of instructions here. Your global instructions, which apply to everything Claude, chat, Cowork, or in-app code, and your Cowork specific ones, both of them in settings. And we're going to go through them as well. Then your project level information. This is the description, the files, the documents, whatever you have in a specific working project. And the third layer is the memory index, which I'll show you how to find in a minute. So you can see exactly what Claude is saving and what type of memories it keeps. Because Claude by default splits it into 4 types. And once your Claude Cowork has all 3 levels, it pulls in the relevant parts to give you the best answer it can. And while you're working in that session, if there's something worth remembering, which is something that Claude kind of decides randomly, unless you specifically ask, it saves it as a short summary to a memory for that project. You can't just tell Claude to save everything, by the way, because your memory will get messy, outdated, and bloated over time. Asking Claude to remember not to use those gosh darn M dashes is fine. Asking it to remember every single session that you ever worked with it, it's not really useful to you. So let's say you're done with your working session for now. The chat and most of the context that you did will be forgotten.
I suffer from short-term memory loss.
What survive is the memory notes, the files that were produced during the working session, like a document or a presentation, and the instructions that you had in settings set before you actually started. So not a whole lot, as you can see. Useful in the moment, but very frustrating later down the line. Especially when you have a bigger piece of work that connects to a previous working session that needs other pieces of information and needs access to a knowledge base. Lots of repeated context, as you can see.
Lots of repeated work. Lots.
You get the idea. So let's break down what your options are. Option number 1, you pay for it. You use a SaaS like Mem0, where you pay for a solution that saves your work and gives your AI of choice a memory across tools. Option number 2, you build it. And no, you are not going to build a SaaS from scratch. It's actually a lot simpler than that. Use a mix of skills plus a tool that you already use. Notion in my case. But this works with Obsidian, Confluent, your personal wiki, whatever your poison of choice is. And you also maximize those global settings and Cowork settings that we talked about too. As a quick side note, AI memory is the topic that almost drove me and my co-founder into complete madness last year while we were building it for allpy.io. We did so much research and a lot of testing. We read up on human memory, which, by the way, did you know that it has 7 sectors? It's wild. Usually split into short-term memory, long-term, explicit, episodic, semantic, implicit, and procedural memory. Wild. We looked at memory decay, at formulas, at scoring, at memories that fade over time inside an AI memory bank. We looked at everything possible. And what we landed on was that with the models we have access to today, long-term memory that stays accurate, useful at scale is just not feasible. So instead, we chose to pick the best option for the type of work that we have. So my Claude code memory, for example, looks a little bit different from the way I set up Claude Cowork memory. Both are a mix of things that I found simple, useful, and easy to set up. Why not go with option one? Well, I get it. It's paid and there are a lot of options out there. But the thing is, none of them are perfect. Migrating out of one is quite messy, and the memories you export will most likely be somewhat useless. Yes, Claude does have a way to import memories from other AI providers, but it's not going to be 100% reliable.
Oh no.
Long term, it's just hard to move from one page solution to another, and it's hard to keep your memory accurate when you're depending on someone else's decision about how your memory gets documented, saved, or deprecated. So, as you can probably guess, I'm just not a huge fan of it, but I'm not judging. If it works for you, go for it. My favorite is option number two, where you kind of build and set it up by yourself. So, here is how this looks like for me. Step number one, turn on memory in Claude. They're currently rolling out an improved experience for memory chat, so keep that in mind. Things will change a little bit. This is a nice to have step. It's not the most critical end solution here. Step number two, you're gonna set up your two levels of instructions that we talked about before. The high level ones in settings, the instructions for Claude, that applies to Claude Chat, Cowork, and in-app Claude Code. Anything and everything Claude, basically. So keep it very high level for high level things, such as formatting, brand colors if you have a brand, specific words to use or avoid. Useful, but keep it very high level. Then the instructions for Claude Cowork, the global instructions, are where you get specific and pack a lot in it. Here's mine as an example, and I have a prompt that you can use to create your own too, should you wish so. I'll link every single prompt and skill and everything that we mentioned in this episode down below, free to use, so you don't have to start from scratch. Then step number three, set up the project in your Cowork. Create a brand new project and add as much information as you can in the description. And create a folder on your local machine where you can add anything that's extra. So extra files, extra context, assets, screenshots, anything that your project might benefit from. Don't add sensitive information, however. Keep that in mind. Step number four, things that kind of make it work. So this is the part where it's going to be useful for you. This is the part where the memory kind of kicks in. And it's split into two. First, you connect your tool of choice. For me, that's Notion. And it's super simple. You go in settings, connectors, browse connectors, find your poison of choice, and then install the MCP for your tool. The second part is you install a skill. I built mine specifically for Notion, and you can use it for free too, link down below, or you can build your own for your specific tool with my prompt, also linked below. Mine is called log-session-wip. As you can see, I know, very creative, but the idea actually came from my engineering background. You know, for engineering, you commit your work as you go. So it's saved into GitHub or GitLab, and I was really missing that in Claude Cowork. So as any good builder would do, I built one, and I kept it simple. So let's take everything that we've set up so far and run a task end to end to see how everything comes together. Okay, so if we're going to go to projects, I already have a social reply project specifically for this purpose. Then you can run a specific task. As you can see, I already done mine. I added a couple of instructions here, and it captured in its own memory a couple of things that we worked on. Now, let me show you how that actually looked like. This is what we worked on. It took a little while, so I prefer to actually do it in advance. I asked it to run an ad campaign and create all the assets that it needs for socialreply.ai. To find the screenshots in the folder, because yes, I gave it quite a few screenshots and a lot of local assets, and propose a campaign. We talked about a couple of things, including budget, what type of campaigns do we want, where do we want to start it, what type of landing page, and so on. So I will spare you for all the steps back and forth and all the conversations. But the output was we had quite a few assets that were created. And at the end of the session, I used my skill, the log-session-wip. It's basically just a slash log and then tab, and this is how you're going to use the skill. Then ask it in Notion under whatever working space you want to create a whole new section for your project, in my case, for social reply. And I asked it in there to make sure that it logs the session that we worked on today, the decisions, and everything else. Now, this skill already has a pre-selected format, which I'll show you in a second. If we go in Notion, you're going to see it created social reply with a little bit of information and then the log. Inside the log, you're going to see every single session that I have. This one was with the date of today, in progress. And this is what I mentioned, what I was talking about when I said that the skill already has a structure. It has automatically gonna capture the date, the status, progress, the actions taken, the decisions that were taken during that working example, the creative examples for this case. But if you're working for something else, it's gonna document whatever you have, any open questions, and then resume context. So this is very important because for Claude, because next time when we're actually going to start a completely new session, it doesn't even need to be inside the project. The resume context will actually give it the point where we left off. So let's give that one a try. Let's say I'm going to have a completely new session. I'm not going to select the folder, so the social reply folder or any other folder. And I will say, use Notion and give me all the information that you have for social reply, social media campaign. Give me all the information and also tell me where we left off so we can get started. And Notion for me is the single source of truth between me and Claude. And my log work in progress, a log session work in progress skill is what will keep that source of truth up to date when I work with Claude. Then when I work separately and I use Notion as, my documentation place, Claude will still have access to that next time when you work. So for example, let's say we want to go in Notion and I want to add a new page. I want to add a new log, and let's say social reply needs to be pink in all ads. I'm going to add the date of yesterday, let's say. I will add blocked. So I'm just going to ask. So as you can see, Claude knows exactly where we left off, what's happening, what we agreed on. So let's ask, what's the latest update for social media reply? What was the last entry? And as you can see, it picked up that social reply needs to be pink in all ads. And that was our entry. And this is what makes this useful. One source of truth that both me and Claude are using. Now, everything I need is in one place. But let me also show you what Claude built-in memory actually looks like. So you can see how Claude saves its memory notes and why we need the setup that we just did. You have this already on your machine. Go to your user folder. For me, it's Tanya. Then on macOS, the next bit is a little bit hidden. So you're going to have to run Command plus Shift plus dot to show the hidden files. Then a library folder will appear. Click that. Then you're going to find application support inside your Claude folder. And then look for local agent mode sessions. In there, you're going to find every single session for memories, plus a memory for your Cowork global instructions. And we can even find the working session that we just ran to see how it looks like. If you look through a few of them, you'll notice that each type of memory has a category inside under type field. Claude keeps 4 types by default. One is user, who you are, your role, your goals, preferences, how you like to work, everything that's used to tailor for your future work. Then feedback. This is where corrections, confirmations, things that you flagged or approved in the past, saved as a rule, so the same mistake doesn't really repeat. Your no M dashes type of note is in this type of memory. Then you have your project type of memory, which is the ongoing work state, decisions, deadlines, open threads, anything that Claude decided that you should remember about specific project. And then you have reference, where things live. This is where it points to specific locations. For example, log the session in Notion. As you can see, each note is a small file flagged with one of those types. Plus, you also have the memory.md index sitting on top. That's the memory notes, the read them on need in the diagram. Why am I showing you this? Maybe you're asking. Well, it's because the AI companies that advertise memory, this is often what it actually looks like. It's a couple of lines here and there with some categories assigned to them. So you do need the extra layer that we talked about. On the other side, we have the log in Notion. I can also ask Claude to write a full brief of our working session against the same log. So you get the documentation end to end without confusing Claude in the future, without bloating it over time, and without contradicting yourself because half of the memories are more or less out of date. Simple, right? All right, that's it for today. If you have a friend who re-explains their entire business to an AI every Monday morning, like it's a first date, send them this one. I'm sure they will thank you for it. And question for you, what's the one thing you wish your AI remembered that keeps forgetting again and again? Let me know in the comments below. I read and reply to every single one of them. And if this was useful, hit that like button for the episode, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out any of the upcoming episodes. We have tons of interesting subjects coming up, and join our free community newsletter over at thecasualleader.com, link down below, for more tech and AI updates, business challenges, and behind the scenes, and more. Until next time, keep being you authentically, lead clearly, build smarter, and remember, everything starts with you. Start casual, keep going, keep growing. See you next week. Bye!